The silence between stars is not empty, it is a held breath. You feel it now, a pressure in the void as ancient systems, older than mountains, engage. There is no flash, no roar. You simply watch as the Cathari Armada, a constellation of hostile light, ceases to be. A correction written in erased stars. This is the story of the weapon that ended a war before humanity even knew it had begun. To understand that silent flash, you must rewind to a single three-word message received in the quiet dark: "Artifact fleet, come." The stars here don't twinkle. The viewport glass is too thick. The station's atmosphere too thin and artificial. They hang as fixed, cold points in a black felt void. You watch them at 0347 station time. The observation deck empty, the only sound the low tectonic hum of the station's engines somewhere far below your feet. The recycled air carries the scent of ozone and cold metal, a taste that never leaves the back of your throat. This is the edge behind you. Stretching for light years is everything humanity has built, every argument you've ever mediated, every fragile peace brokered across a table. Out here there is only the quiet and the watch. Your personal calm set to silent vibrates once against your ribs. You know before you even look that the quiet is over. No one calls this frequency. No one reaches out to you here at this hour, unless every other option has burned away. You feel the weight of the message in your hand, a physical pull against the vast, indifferent starlight. The screen illuminates your face in the dark glass. It's a priority one, multi-encrypted burst from command. The header alone tells the story, coordinates for the most remote military listening post in human space, a place so far out it barely has a name, and the requester, Commander Ilara Vance. Her reputation is a closed fist. She doesn't ask for help. She especially doesn't ask for diplomats. The message body is only 3 words. The tension in them so absolute it feels like a fracture in the world itself. Artifact fleet, come. You don't move. You let the hum of the station fill the space where your thoughts used to be. Out there, in that specific slice of black, something unknown has appeared. And somewhere beyond even that, something else is gathering. The peace you've spent a lifetime building is now measured in the distance between 2 unknowns. You turn from the stars. The summons is not a request. It is the first domino falling. You go to answer it. The shuttle docks with a metallic shudder at 1422 station time, a sound that travels up through the deck plates and into your bones. The airlock cycles with a hiss of equalizing pressure that smells of burnt ceramics and cold vacuum you step through. The corridor is all harsh, white light and gray composite, vibrating with a different, sharper frequency than your own ship, the sound of a place perpetually braced for impact. Commander Ilara Vance is already there, waiting. She doesn't offer a hand. Her face is pale under the lights, the skin tight around her eyes, her hands clasped behind her back, don't quite stay still. You see the minute tremor in her fingertips. "Ambassador," she says. Her voice is flat, stripped of modulation. It's the voice of someone holding a structural beam in place with sheer will. "Follow me." She turns without ceremony, leading you deeper into the station's spine. You pass closed hatches, status panels glowing amber, the occasional crew member who avoids your eyes. The tension here is a physical layer, thicker than the artificial air. It's the quiet of a crew watching a storm gather on the horizon, knowing it's coming their way and calculating the seconds until landfall. She leads you into the command nexus. The light here is dim, lit primarily by the massive tactical holodisplay that dominates the room. It shows a standard local starfield, serene and empty. Vance doesn't sit. She gestures at the display, her movement sharp, almost violent. "This is our primary long-range scan. Clean. Nothing but background noise and stellar dust for 12 light years in any direction." Her jaw works. This is what the secondary array saw 90 minutes ago. Her fingers tap a command. The serene starfield vanishes, replaced by a sector map so far out it's almost off the human grid. At its edge, rendered in pulsing crimson glyphs, is a cluster of contacts. Dozens, no, hundreds. They are a cloud, amorphous and growing, massing just beyond reliable resolution. Unidentified, she says, the word brittle. No transponder codes. No drive signatures we recognize, origin unknown. Intent unknown. She points to a readout. The estimated count increments upward as you watch. It grows, every system sweep, it's larger, closer. She finally looks at you, and in her eyes is not fear but a furious, trapped confusion. This is a soldier who understands threats. This is not a threat she understands. It appeared, she says, within 6 hours of the artifact's arrival. Coincidence is a luxury we don't have out here. You're the one they send to talk to monsters. So talk. What is that fleet? And what does it want with my station? You don't answer her question. You ask one instead. Where is the artifact? She leads you down a service corridor where the station's hum deepens to a subsonic thrum. The lights are dimmed to dusk cycle, the alert panels casting a slow, rhythmic red pulse across the walls. At the corridor's end, a security airlock stands open. Inside is a chamber never meant to hold anything. The artifact rests at its center. It is a smooth, dark obelisk, twice your height. It absorbs the red light, giving nothing back. The air around it vibrates, a frequency you feel in your molars, in the marrow of your hands. It is not a sound, it is a presence, pressing against the room. Vance stops at the threshold, her body rigid. Sensors read nothing. No radiation, no energy signature. It's just there, and out there. She nods back toward command. That fleet gets closer every hour. They are connected. I know it. You watch the obelisk. The hum is not a threat. It is an invitation, a very old one. I need to approach it, you say, your voice quiet in the throbbing air. Protocol forbids unscreened contact with. Protocol is for known quantities, Commander. This is the only unknown. Let me do what I was summoned to do. Her protest dies in her throat. She looks from you to the artifact and back to the empty corridor behind her, a woman holding the line between two incomprehensible forces. The weight of the decision settles on her. She gives a single, sharp nod. Alone, then. 10 minutes after that, I'm coming in. It's a concession wrapped in an order. You step past her into the chamber. The air grows thicker, warmer. The hum resolves into something almost like a voice just below hearing. You take another step. The security door seals behind you with a final soft hiss. You are alone with the sentinel. The hiss of the door fades into the new silence. The chamber's air is warm now, thick with the scent of ozone and something else, the dry, papery smell of a book opened after centuries. The oppressive red alert glow is gone. In its place, a soft, sourceless blue light emanates from walls that no longer look like metal. They pulse gently, like the interior of a living lung. You take a step. The floor yields slightly absorbing sound. The dark obelisk is gone. You stand in a vaulted space that stretches into shadow, the blue light clinging to curved organic ribs overhead. The hum has resolved into a whisper just at the edge of comprehension. It feels like walking into a memory that isn't yours. At the chamber's heart, a shape rests on a low dais. It is not a monster. It is a form worn nearly to transparency, like a statue eroded by a million years of wind. You see the suggestion of limbs, a torso, a head tilted back. Its substance is not flesh or machine, but a coalescence of the same blue light, flickering weakly. It is dying. The knowledge arrives in your mind, unbidden, carried on the whisper in the air. You stop 10 paces away. The air thrums with a profound, weary attention. A voice speaks, not aloud. It forms inside your skull, clear and dry as desert stone. You are the mediator. It is not a question. You nod, the motion feeling absurd. I am the last. The being, the sentinel, does not move. My civilization named the stars you walk among. We are dust now. For 10,000 of your years, I have kept the watch. I have been the threshold. Images brush against your consciousness, vistas of galaxies, of strange worlds glowing in the dark, and of those worlds going dark one by one, snuffed out by silent, judgmental fire. The scale of it is a weight that makes your knees tremble. This is the burden, the invisible, eternal work. The watch is ending. The voice sighs, a sound of continents shifting. The Kithari have crossed the line. Their fleet gathers. Your frontier is in their path. I chose this place, this station for you. You stand at the precipice. The blue light in its form dims. The whisper in the air grows strained. The pact remains. One civilization chosen from those most threatened may take up the vigil, become the next sentinel, gain the pact's protection, or refuse and face the storm alone. The choice is yours, mediator, but it must be made now. I have only moments left to give it. The blue light around the sentinel's form brightens, not with power, but with effort. The dry voice in your mind shifts, becoming a conduit. See? The vaulted chamber dissolves. The warm air turns cold and thin. You are standing on a world of crystalline spires under a binary star, the sky a bruised purple. You feel the hum of a great civilization through the ground, a society of artists, philosophers, builders whose cities are songs made solid. Then you feel the shift, a hardening, a doctrine of purity that declares all other life a flaw in the galaxy's design. You see their fleets, beautiful and terrible, slide into the void. The Sentinel's memory shows you not the battles, but the aftermaths. The purple sky goes black. The song in the crystals falls silent, not a ruin, an erasure, as if the spires and the minds that built them were simply edited from reality. The scene fractures. Another, a gas giant's moon threaded with luminous fungal networks, a collective mind that thought in slow, deep geological time. It reached a conclusion. Existence was suffering. The only moral act was to end it, for everyone, everywhere. Its empathy became a weapon. The Sentinel shows you the moment of decision, the psychic command broadcast, then silence. The luminous networks dim, planet by planet, a gentle, horrifying euthanasia administered across light years. The memories come faster now. A dozen cultures, 100, each unique, brilliant, vibrant, each crossing the same invisible line, the threshold of existential aggression. The belief that their survival, their purity, their philosophy justified the negation of all others. The Pact's law is brutal in its simplicity, a civilization that reaches for that weapon, that makes the choice to become an existential threat, is removed, preemptively, completely. The warm blue light returns. You are back in the chamber, breathing hard, your hands trembling. The scale of the judgment is not monstrous, it is surgical. It feels like the universe itself has an immune system, and you have just seen its white blood cells at work. The Sentinel's form flickers dimmer. You understand the threshold. It is not about weapons. It is about choice. The irrevocable choice to become a cancer. You think of Commander Vance's pale face in the command center, her hands restless over the sensor display, the unidentified fleet massing at the edge of detection, growing. Your throat tightens. The fleet your commander tracks, the Sentinel's voice grinds, fading, is the Kithari. They achieved faster-than-light travel 3 of your years ago, They encountered a colony world of another species yesterday. They rendered it sterile to test a new weapon. They crossed the threshold. The truth lands cold and absolute. The danger was never abstract. It wasn't lurking in some distant quadrant. It is here, now. Their expansion vector is direct, unyielding. This station, your frontier, is the first substantial mass in their path. They will be here in less than a standard day. I chose this place because you are the civilization most threatened, and you, a final pulse of light, are the one I found. The whispering air grows still. The choice is no longer theoretical. It hangs in the warm, ozonic silence between you, as real and as heavy as a star. The sentinel's form dims further, the blue light retreating to a faint corona around its stone-like core. The voice returns, not to your mind, but to the air itself, a sound of granite slabs shifting deep underground. The pact is not a treaty. It is a chain of custody, older than your star. Images surface in the fading light, not memories this time, but symbols. A simple three-part glyph, a circle, a line, a point etched into the walls, glowing silver. The circle is the galaxy. The line is the threshold. The point is the sentinel. My people forged the pact after we crossed our own threshold. We saw what we had become. We chose the watch as our penance. The glyph shimmers, the point separates from the line, moves to the circle's edge. The terms are absolute. A sentinel identifies a civilization at the precipice. We offer the pact to the species most directly threatened by that aggression. One envoy, one choice. The air in the chamber grows heavy, pressing on your shoulders. The warm, ozonic scent sharpens like the air before a storm. If the envoy accepts, their civilization comes under the pact's protection. The aggressive species is removed. The envoy becomes the next sentinel. They take my place within the watchstone. The voice grinds, weary. The watch lasts until the next threshold is crossed. It could be a century, it could be 10,000 years. You would live them. Here. You look at your own hands in the soft gloom. The hands that signed ceasefires, that gestured across negotiation tables. The idea of millennia stretches before you, a desert of time. If the envoy refuses, the sentinel continues, the glyph darkening, the protection is forfeit. Permanently, the watchstone departs. The approaching fleet becomes your problem alone. You think of Vance's sensors, the blips of light multiplying at the edge of the screen, the Cathari. Their test at a colony world, a sterile rock now. Their vector, unyielding. This station, with its humming engines and recycled air, is just a speck in their path. You are the envoy. The choice is yours, but understand the geometry. The Cathari fleet grows larger on your commander's screens with every hour you spend in this chamber. They are the storm. This stone is the only levee. The blue light flickers, a heartbeat skipping. The sentinel's form begins to dissolve at the edges, motes of light drifting upward like embers. I have held this watch for longer than your recorded history. I am tired. The choice now lives in you, to stand the watch and save your people from this fire, or to return to them and face the flame with only your hands to shield them. The glyph fades. Only the faint, breathing light of the walls remains. The silence is total. It is the silence of a verdict waiting to be spoken. The weight of it is not in the chamber, but in your chest, a cold, dense stone where your heart should be. You understand, completely. There is no third option, no clever negotiation. Only the point, the line, and the circle. The silence stretches. It is not empty. It is filled with the vibration of the station's engines, transmitted up through the soles of your boots, a distant mechanical heartbeat. You feel the weight of the commander's fear in that tremor. You feel the weight of the multiplying lights on her screen, a silent arithmetic of annihilation. You look at your hands again, the negotiator's hands. They have gestured toward peace across 100 tables. They have never held a weapon meant for a species. The sentinel is almost gone. Its light is the pale blue of a winter dawn, clinging to the rough stone of its core. The warmth in the chamber is leaching away, replaced by the station's own clinical cold. You think of the pact's geometry, the point, the line, the circle. You are being asked to become the point, a fixed, lonely marker on an invisible line for millennia, so the circle can remain unbroken. To refuse is to walk back through that archway to meet Vance's exhausted eyes, and to tell her you have brought her only a philosophical quandary while a fleet of extinction approaches. Your life's work, the belief that understanding can always disarm conflict, would become the epitaph for your entire civilization. The Kithari do not negotiate. You saw that in the Sentinel's memories. They only consume. The last of the blue light gutters, a final whisper brushes against your mind, not with words, but with a pure, unshielded sensation. The profound, aching loneliness of watching over a galaxy that never knows you are there. You close your eyes. You do not think of the millennia ahead. You think of the single second after you say the words. You think of the blips on the sensor screen, winking out one by one. I accept. The words are quiet. They change the air. The stone core of the sentinel darkens completely. The motes of light swirling upward freeze, then reverse course, flowing toward you. Not as light, but as knowledge, a torrent of protocols, of histories, of a silent network older than stars. You feel it slot into place behind your eyes, a new and terrible organ of perception. You are aware of the watchstone around you, not as a chamber, but as a body. You are aware of the Kithari fleet, a screaming wound in the quiet dark, 23 light hours out. Your first act is not a thought. It is an instinct, a function. Deep within the artifact, a system older than Earth's mountains engages. In the silent dark between stars, the Kithari armada ceases to be. No explosion, no debris, just a correction. The old sentinel is gone. The warm, ozonic scent is gone. The chamber light is now a cool, operational white. You are alone inside the stone. You feel the station's vibration through it. You feel the vast, waiting silence of the pact all around you. You have one thing left to do. The knowledge settles. It is not a memory. It is a new layer of reality, superimposed over your own. You feel the watchstone's systems as you feel your own heartbeat, a low, resonant power thrumming through the deck beneath your feet. The cool white light of the chamber is not just illumination, it is a status readout you now understand without translation. Your awareness unfolds. It passes through the stone walls, feeling the station's hull, the vacuum, the quiet of the local system. It stretches further, along lines of gravity and ancient quantum threads, to the silent network of the pact. You feel its vast sleeping architecture, a lattice of sentinel stones and dormant protocols spanning the galactic arm. It is cold, it is patient, it has been waiting for you. And there, a screaming dissonance against that quiet, the Kithari armada, a tumor of violent intent. 23 light hours distant. To your new senses, it is not a collection of ships. It is a single raging pattern of existential aggression. A mathematical certainty. The pact's protocols rise in response to your focus, not as commands, but as extensions of your own will. A targeting solution presents itself with the simplicity of pointing a finger. You do not fire. You do not activate. You align. Deep within the artifact, a mechanism older than life on Earth engages. It does not move. It redefines a local set of physical laws. In the silent dark between stars, the Kithari armada, every ship, every weapon, every waking mind, ceases to satisfy the conditions required to exist. The screaming pattern winks into silence, no energy release, no expanding cloud of debris, just a correction applied to a flawed equation. On the station, Commander Vance's sensor screen will show the multiplying blips simply vanish. One moment, an overwhelming threat. The next, empty space. She will think it a trick, a sensor ghost before the chilling truth settles in. Something far beyond her understanding just intervened. You feel the echo of that correction ripple back through the Pact's network. Acknowledgement, a changing of the guard. The watchstone itself shifts around you, the hum modulating into a smoother, deeper frequency, its systems now attuned to your human biology. The tool has accepted its new hand. You are the sentinel, the point on the line. The loneliness the old one showed you is already here, a vast and hollow resonance in this new awareness. But there is one thread of your old life, one point of warmth in the cold geometry. You turn your attention inward to the stone's communication systems. You compose a message, not a report, not an explanation. A single personal line of text, directed to a private terminal on a remote military station. It is all you are permitted. You enter the command, the watchstone's engines, silent, gravity-less, engage. The artifact detaches from the station. Through the stone, you feel the structure recede. You feel the commander, a solitary figure in her command center, staring at her now clear screens. You feel her receive your message. Then the viewport of the chamber dissolves into a transparency. You see the stars, not as points of light, but as coordinates in a watch schedule millennia long. The watchstone turns, aligning to a vector only you can see. It begins to move, accelerating into the endless dark. Your vigil has begun. Back on the station, Commander Elara Vance stands at her command console. The time is 05:30, the artificial dawn cycle. The only light comes from the bank of sensor displays, painting her face in shifting blues and greens. For the last hour, she has watched the Cathari Armada, a storm of crimson blips multiplying at the edge of her long-range scopes, creep closer with each refresh. Her hand rests on the general alert toggle, her knuckles white. She is waiting for the impact she has already calculated. The screen refreshes. The storm is gone. Not destroyed, not scattered, gone. 73 capital-class signatures, their attendant swarms of fighters, their support vessels all vanished between one heartbeat of the sensor and the next. The space where they were is just space. No debris field expanding, no energy spike, no final defiant transmission. It is as if someone reached into the simulation and deleted a flawed variable. Elara leans forward, her breath fogging the cool screen. She runs a diagnostic, then another. The systems are nominal. She checks external visual feeds, cycling through the telescopes pointed at that vector. Nothing but starfield. The silence in the command center is absolute, broken only by the low hum of life support and the frantic rhythm of her own heart. This is not a victory, it is an erasure. A chill settles deep in her bones, colder than the vacuum outside the hull. The ambassador did this. The artifact did this. Something from beyond human understanding just exercised a power so total it feels like a fundamental law of the universe being rewritten. She sinks into her chair, the weight of the last 24 hours crashing down. The station, usually a hive of low-grade anxiety and routine, feels cavernous, empty. The threat that defined every action, that tightened every corridor with tension, has been lifted away, leaving a hollow silence behind. She stares at the clear screen, at the peaceful, mocking starfield. The questions begin to swarm louder than any alert siren. What was the price? What is he now? And what does it mean that something capable of that chose her station? A soft, solitary chime breaks the silence, her private terminal tucked away from the main tactical displays. A single line of text glows on the screen, sender ID, encrypted, origin point untraceable. It reads, "The garden needs tending. Remember the rain, She reads it once, then again. The message does not explain, it does not reassure. It is an anchor line thrown back from an unimaginable distance. She does not cry. She simply sits in the quiet dark of the command center, the empty screens around her, reflecting a future that has become suddenly, profoundly unknown. The immediate danger has passed, but the station and the woman commanding it are now alone with a galaxy that has just revealed its true, silent, and terrifying rules. The message sits on her screen for a full minute. The cursor blinks patiently after the dash, the final initial. E, not his title, not his name, just the letter he used for personal correspondence, back when such things existed. She reaches out, her finger hovering over the key to archive it, to lock it away in some encrypted log. She doesn't. She lets it glow. The garden needs tending. The station's hydroponic bay is on deck 4. It's a functional asset, producing oxygen and supplemental nutrition. It has never been a garden, but she remembers the story he told her once over a terrible cup of synth coffee in a quiet moment between crises, a parable from his first mediation about a world that saved itself not by building a bigger wall, but by teaching the children on both sides of it how to prune the same fragile rose. Tending, not controlling, not destroying. Remember the rain. She does. She remembers the smell of it on Earth, the weight of a real atmosphere, the way it sounded on the roof of her childhood home, a sensory anchor to a reality that feels galaxies away. It's not nostalgia, it's an instruction, a reminder of scale. The rain falls. The galaxy turns. Some forces are simply too vast to fight. You can only understand your place within them. The chime sounds again. A second line appears beneath the first, the letters forming one by one, as if typed from a tremendous distance. The pact is active. Its protection is passive but absolute. It does not prevent conflict. It prevents extinction. You will never see its work. You will only see the peace that follows. Do not look for me. But know I am there, in the silent spaces between stars, remembering the rain. The message ends. The sender ID vanishes. The terminal returns to its standard operational display. Ilara Vance leans back. The hollow silence in the command center shifts, transforms. It is no longer the silence of absence, but the silence of a held breath. The galaxy has not become safer. It has become deeper, layered with rules written in light years and millennia. Her station is not just an outpost anymore. It is a landmark, a place where a line was drawn, not in the sand, but in the fabric of causality itself. She looks from her private screen to the main tactical display, still showing a clear, untroubled starfield. The immediate future repairs, reports, debriefing the confused crew stretches before her. But beneath it all, a new current flows, cold and profound. Humanity is protected by a shield it cannot see, maintained by a man who is no longer a man, and she is the only one sitting in the quiet hum of her command chair, who knows the truth. The garden needs tending. She has just been handed the shears. The artifact departs at dawn. You don't feel it move. The station simply begins to shrink in the forward viewport, a cluster of silver needles against the black, its running lights blinking once before being swallowed by the starfield. The silence inside is not the silence of a vacuum. It is the silence of a cathedral of held breath, of a mind too vast for sound. You feel the weight of it settling into your bones, not a burden, but a density, as if your cells are remembering a gravity they never knew. The station vanishes. You are alone with the stars. But you are not looking out, you are looking through. The artifact's sensors become your senses, extending in every direction at once. You feel the gentle pressure of solar winds, the magnetic tides of distant pulsars, the cold whisper of dark matter flowing through the galactic arms. It is not data. It is sensation. The pact is not a treaty. It is a nervous system, and you have just become its newest, most fragile synapse. A soft chime resonates through the warm air. A new awareness surfaces in your mind, clear and cold, the Kithari vector. Not as a tactical readout, but as a scar on the fabric of local spacetime, a knot of aggressive intent. The knowledge of what must be done arrives without emotion. It is a geometric proof, an equation that balances. You do not command the artifact. You consider the solution, and the ancient systems now woven through your consciousness enact it. From your perspective, nestled in blue light and silence, nothing happens. There is no flash, no detonation. In a region of space 3 light-years coreward, the laws of physics simply reassert their priority. The knot of aggressive intent unravels. The scar smooths over. The potential energy of a fleet poised for annihilation dissipates as harmless infrared radiation, a faint sigh against the cosmic background hum. It is done, your first act as Sentinel. The artifact turns, orienting on a new bearing, a slow, patient arc toward the galactic rim, where another faint dissonance, centuries away at this speed, has begun to whisper. You feel the old Sentinel's memories settling beside your own, not as intrusions, but as layers of sediment. You will live thousands of years here in this quiet chamber, watching civilizations rise and fall, pruning only the branches that threaten the whole tree. You think of Ilara tending her garden. You think of rain. The artifact accelerates, not through space, but into the deepening quiet between stars. You are the new Sentinel. The watch begins.